Hello. Welcome to Donna. My channel's all about dating, love, relationships, and toxic relationship advice channel. We're getting back in it with now. We're getting back with this trial. And this trial that we're covering is Demon Seed Maxwell Anderson trial. 19-year-old Sade Robinson dismembered on first date. Day 4 of the trial. So we're just gonna do clips of day 4 and what is it? I didn't really get a chance to see myself, so I'm kind of watching with y'all. So we just go by it, but we're not gonna go through the whole thing. I think one we're gonna focus on is the roommate, some like a tenant that he had in his home. This demon seed. So we get to see some pictures of his home, and then also, if I'm correct, oh, when they was on the first date too. Some surveillance videos of that too. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. Now, this one we're getting into is, like I said, day 4, and the speed is on 1.30. If it's too fast for you, what you could do is you hit the settings and adjust it to your liking. Okay? Whatever's comfortable for you. But make sure you hit the like, share your thoughts and opinions in the comment section, all that good stuff. All right, let's get into this trial, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get it.
1692 appearances.
Ian Vance Curzan and Megan Newport appear for the state of Wisconsin. We're joined at council table by Detective Joanne Donner. Good morning.
Good morning. Max Anderson with Anthony Cotton and Jason Finley.
Good morning, everybody. I hope you had a lovely weekend. We are still on the state's case in chief, and State, are you ready to call your next witness?
Yes.
Please do so.
Pete Warbington.
Please remain standing and raise your right hand.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You can please be seated, state and spell your name for the record.
Pete Warbington, Teworbington.
How old are you, sir?
I'm 34 years of age.
Did you at one point live in a residence at 3159 South 39th Street?
I did. I was a lower tenant.
Is that address, is it a single family house? What is it?
It's a duplex, upper unit and a lower unit. I rented out the lower unit from Max.
Is it in the city and county of Milwaukee, Wisconsin?
Yes.
You said you rented the lower unit from who?
Maxwell Anderson?
Is Maxwell Anderson someone you knew prior to renting that unit?
Yes, I knew him ever since I was a little kid. His father was my baseball coach in Little League. And then I moved down to Texas for 18 years or so. And after I finished college, I moved back and saw that he had put an ad on Facebook saying that he had a lower unit for rent and I needed to get closer to Milwaukee for work. So that's how that worked out.
Is the person you're calling Maxwell Anderson in the courtroom today?
Yeah, absolutely.
Could you please identify him by indicating where he is sitting and something he's wearing?
Yeah, he's right here and he's wearing a gray long sleeve shirt button down.
I'd ask the record to reflect the witness identified the defendant and pointed at him.
Yes, that's fine.
The record will so reflect.
So you had lived in Texas and then you moved back to Wisconsin?
Yeah, once I finished college, I did, yes.
And that's how you found this apartment?
Yeah, post online, made by Maxwell.
Did you reach out to him?
Yeah, I reached out to him. He told me to come over. I looked at the place. It worked out. The rent was cheap. I liked it, so I took it.
When was this? What year?
I can't. 2023, I believe, and I lived there for 2 years, or 2022. I can't nail down it.
Okay, and you also just said you had lived there for 2 years.
2
correct?
years, yeah, roughly.
When did you move out of there?
I would say probably a week after I was dragged out of my home in my underwear by the SWAT team.
Okay, would that have been in April of 2024?
Yes,
And so you lived in the lower unit?
I did.
Who lived in the upper unit?
Maxwell Anderson.
Would you pay rent to him?
Yes,
How would you do that?
pie check usually.
Once a month?
He would let me pay pretty much whenever I wanted, which is one of the reasons that I did want to continue renting from him. So I might pay him $500 the first week, next paycheck, pay him $500 that week. Sometimes it was all in one, $1,000 a month, and I wrote it to him at the beginning of the month.
Did you understand him to be the landlord?
Yes,
Did you understand him to be the owner of the house?
yes, he explained to me that he was the owner of the house, yes.
Did you believe that to be true?
I didn't believe that to be true, no.
Why not?
Well, I guess I could,
I'm going to object on relevance grounds to this line of questioning.
Why is it relevant?
Goes towards his knowledge of the defendant.
I'll allow it. You can answer it if you're able to answer it.
well, he told me that he put $40,000 down on his home, but throughout the course of me staying in the house, I came to realize that Max didn't necessarily hold down a job very well. So it was kind of confusing to me how somebody could amass a $40,000 down payment when they only work 3 days a week and are frequently changing jobs.
But nevertheless, you would just pay him and no one else.
Absolutely, him and no one else.
Did you interact with him much other than to pay rent?
We probably hung out the first year that I was there a handful of times, went to a couple of bars, just kind of keeping it amicable, as friendly as you could be from a tenant to a landlord.
How many times?
5, 10 maybe.
And
tops.
had you ever been in his unit?
Yeah, a couple of times I went up there. We were just talking about, whatever. It wasn't for anything in particular, but yeah, when he called me over to look at the unit at first, he didn't even show me the lower unit. He just showed me his apartment upstairs. And he said it was kind of pretty much the same thing downstairs, just with an extra room. So
You stated that you had hung out with him a couple times the first year. Did you not hang out with him after a period of time?
yeah, after about the first year of living there, he came to be what I would call just an insufferable landlord. He would basically have people over.
I'm going to object again. This is getting into impermissible character evidence.
I'll ask a more pointed question.
Okay.
You stopped hanging out with him after about the first year, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Did you understand him to, I think you said he worked jobs. What did you know him to do for work?
I knew that he was a bartender. He just worked at a bunch of different locations, which isn't uncommon for bartenders to do. But
Did you know what bars?
I knew that he worked at Victor's. That was really the only one that I can remember right now. But like I said, he went through a couple.
Did he have a car?
Yeah, he had a black SUV.
Do you remember what kind?
Hyundai, however you say that.
Did you have a car?
Yeah,
What car did you have?
I have a black Honda Civic.
And would you park it at the residence?
Yeah, usually, I mean, it could go either way. Some days I would park in the front street, and then some days I would park in the back by the garage.
I want to talk to you about the layout of the residence. I'm going to show you a few exhibits here. I want to page through this, and for the record, these are going to be exhibits 297, 354, 355, 381, 359, 382. We'll start with that. Can you just page through those silently to yourself and tell me when you're done?
All right.
Those are all photographs, right?
Yep.
Do you recognize where these photographs were taken?
Yeah, that's predominantly the house that I lived in, and then in the basement as well.
I would move those exhibits in again, and I could read the numbers for the record if Your Honor would like.
I have 257, 354, 355, 381, 359, and 382.
It was 297.
Okay, that made no sense to me because 257 was already in, so
Okay.
that makes more sense.
All right, good.
Any objection?
No.
They're received.
Ask to publish.
Go ahead.
I'm going to start with exhibit 297 here. Mr. Robinson, can you see that TV, either the one to my right or the one next to
I
me?
can see it just fine.
297, what are we looking at, sir?
That would be the front yard of my home, or where I lived at Maxwell Anderson's home.
Who's this person right here?
That person?
Yes.
Is that me? That is me. That's absolutely me.
Okay, all right. So this is where you live,
Yep.
and you are standing on the front cement porch.
Yep.
That door that's next to you, is that a door into your unit, the upper unit? Where does that door go?
That door goes specifically to my unit, the lower unit, and it did not go upstairs. And that's the door that I use the majority of the time.
So that unit, that door, you couldn't get into the upper unit from that door?
Not from that door, no.
Okay. Did you use that door predominantly?
Predominantly, yes.
Over here, there's a gate. You see that?
Yep.
Is there a side door?
There is a side door about 10 feet inside of that gate once you walk into it on the right.
Where does the side door lead into?
The side door, once you open it, you can either go to the middle floor, which would be my unit. You can go downstairs into the basement, or you could go upstairs to Maxwell's unit.
Were you known to use the side door at all?
Very infrequently, only probably to go to work if I was parked out back. A lot of the time, like I said, I was parked out front anyway, because it's easier for me to just walk through the front door.
So you would use the side door, but it wasn't common?
No, it wasn't. And I actually would let my dog out of the front door as well. There should be a cable there, so I use the front door more often than not, yeah.
You had one dog?
I had one dog, yes.
Did the defendant have any dogs?
He had 2 dogs.
Where would those dogs stay?
Usually in the basement, that's where their kennels were located, but when Maxwell was home, he would take them upstairs with him.
What kind of dog did you have?
I have a large American Bulldog.
And what kind of dogs did Mr. Anderson have?
Believe it was a black lab and some kind of pit bull terrier. Both female. If that
Okay.
matters.
Let's talk about your apartment first. Can you just kind of summarize the general layout of it?
Yeah, if you were to walk in that front door right there to the left, you've got my living room. It's kind of set up in like an X. There's 4 rooms in the 4 corners. The room on the right would be my bedroom, and then you have the bathroom in the middle, and then you have my home office in the far right corner of the home, and then the kitchen in the far left-hand corner.
Where's your bedroom?
My bedroom is right there. As soon as you open that front door, you're going to walk into a wall. It's on the other side of that wall, so right there on the right.
How many bedrooms total in your unit?
In my unit, 2.
And your room was sort of in the front of the residence?
Absolutely. As soon as you open up that front door, there's a wall 3 feet in front of you. If you go on the other side of that wall, that's my room.
Let's talk about the basement. How would you get to the basement?
Through that side door. in
Not
the
through the
unit.
front door?
Not through the front door. No, in order for me to go to the basement, the only way that you can get in there is if you were to go in through that side door. Obviously, you could get there through my unit because there's a door into the stairwell, and that's how I would get to the basement.
Okay. Did you ever use the basement?
I used the basement probably the first year that I was there doing my laundry. Other than that, I mean, I cut it down. I did not like going down there. It smelled awful. There was oftentimes I would have to report to Max that his dogs had defecated in the basement. It was horrid smelling. It frequently flooded and had what I can only assume is
I'm going to object on relevance grounds.
I'll ask a different question.
Okay.
You didn't use the basement much.
not much. Yes.
You used to use it to do your laundry, right?
Yes.
You kind of stopped doing that?
Yeah, I stopped probably the last couple of months that I was there. I didn't go down there pretty much at all, maybe once a month to do laundry. But then his washing machine actually broke and he started utilizing mine, or what was reserved for me. And I didn't want to share a washing machine with him. So I would just honestly just go down to my mom's and do some of my laundry there.
Did you keep any belongings in the basement?
No.
I'm going to show exhibit 354 on the screen here. What are we looking at?
That's a stairwell going up from the basement. And that is the side door that I've been discussing.
That's the side door?
Yep.
All right. And then next, I'm going to zoom in here. There's a, right where I'm pointing here. What is that?
Multiple light switch panels there.
What would those activate?
Those would activate stairwell lights, and I believe the light that is outside of the door.
So there's a light outside that side door?
That screen door right there, yes.
And it's activated or deactivated through the switch?
To the best of my knowledge, I believe so, yes.
You don't recall it being motion activated?
I do not recall any motion activated lights.
Exhibit 355, what are we looking at here? And if you can, when you answer that question, just orient us from the last picture.
So it would be as if you turned, I don't know, 45 degrees to the right and just snapped another photo in the same spot. You're at the bottom of the stairwell there, and you are looking to the right side of the basement.
Exhibit 359. Where is this, or what are we looking at? And if you could use that last photo to help us understand.
Yeah, last photo would probably be like a 180-degree shot from the last photo that we just looked at. Looks like somebody turned right around, and this is kind of towards the front part of the basement, I guess you could say. Is you can see the dog kennel there, yeah. That would be the front part, directly under my living room is where that would be.
All right, so the dog kennel area you're referring to is,
Back there, yes.
is that where you knew Max Anderson to keep his dogs?
Yeah, in his kennels, yes.
Was that all the time or just when he wasn't there?
Just when he wasn't there, they were in the kennel. He usually would bring them up into his apartment when he was there, yeah.
.381. What are we looking at here?
That looks like so that's the dryer right there. So you're looking, I don't know, towards the back of the basement. If you were to come down the stairs, down the left-hand side, he had a tool bench down there. Yeah, and that punching bag. So yeah, the back left, if you were to come down the stairs of the basement.
Same room as 355, is that fair to say?
Yes, that's exactly right next to the tool bench.
And that's not the same part of the basement as 359, right?
No, it's not. That would be opposite ends.
And then I'm going to put up 382.
Yeah, that's the tool bench.
Was anything in there, in that tool bench yours?
No, not at all.
You had nothing in the basement?
Absolutely nothing. I put nothing down there.
Did you know him to have a lot of tools?
Yeah, absolutely. Neighbors would come over and ask us to borrow tools.
Okay. Did you know him to use the tools?
I know Max, absolutely. He was constantly working on home improvement projects that he called home improvement, but they weren't very good.
What kind of projects are you talking about?
Well, he did some work on the fence. He was building some kind of underground shelter. He was going to allow his dogs to sleep under there. That would be the hole in the yard. And so in doing so, he had to work on the fence, and I believe he put up some shiplap and painted it.
I didn't
So
hear that last thing. So put up some what?
shiplap is a type of like wood that you could put up.
Can you spell that?
No, SHIPLAP, I think.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So continue, you were discussing.
Yeah, so I mean, it was almost nonstop, and it got to the point. That's one of the main reasons that I was moving out, is that it was like living in a construction zone. I mean, I'd get off from work at 5 o'clock, and I'd have to tell them multiple times, after I work a long day of work, I'm not trying to come home to hearing hammers and saws and power drills or anything like that, but it just never ended.
So, lot of projects you'd be working on.
A lot of projects.
You would characterize them as home improvement projects?
That's how we would like to phrase it.
All right. You said there was a hole in the yard.
Yes,
Where was the hole?
that was right outside of the screen door,
The side door.
side screen door, yes.
I'm going to show you exhibit 302. You recognize this photo?
Yeah, that's the whole discussion.
I moved 302 and asked to publish.
Any objection?
No.
To receive, go ahead.
302 is on the screen here. So the camera person is standing just outside the side door facing 39th Street.
Correct.
And where is this hole, if you could just describe, and if you need to get up to point.
Yeah, it's right in that back corner right there. You can see the shiplap that I just brought up. It's a lighter texture than the rest of the fence because it was a fresh cut. He was freshly putting that material up, and he freshly painted it. As you can see, the rest of the fence is a bit darker.
Sorry.
It's a bit darker. He had just done that. Now you see, take your finger to the right there. Yeah,
Let's step up.
Sure.
absolutely.
I
Sorry.
think we have a microphone. If you just give me 1 second.
Turn it on.
Why don't you point out what you're talking about as the hole?
As best as I can explain, this is the hole that he started with. So this was here even before I even moved in. This was here. I saw it there. He told me he was going to have it fixed up and he was going to put something there, but obviously that never happened. But as you can see here, this is a natural brown, a darker brown, because that fence has been there before I even moved in. And you can see here, these are the shiplap, and he put them horizontally. And so this has been done new because this started to cave in before he could even do anything with this. So this fence started to come down, so he had to fix that. So that's what he did. He put up this new shiplap, whatever this lumber is, and as you can see, it's a totally different painted color because it's been painted at 2 different times. This was the most recent project that I can remember that he had.
I can take mine.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Why don't you keep it near you just in case you got to use the screen again? And then the hole is sort of between the camera person and the shiplap that you're referring
Yeah, that's correct.
to. Okay. What did he tell you the hole was for?
He told me he was going to put some sort of, I guess, shed or something there. He was going to build a shed to keep like a lawnmower in, any kind of yard tools that he was using. And then underneath that, he was going to allow his dogs to go down there, and that's where they would sleep, I guess, maybe stay warm in the winter. The idea didn't make much sense to me when it was explained to me either.
He was going to have his dogs sleep in the hole?
From what he told me.
Was he planning on connecting it to the house or something?
I do not believe so. I think it was just something while they were out there that they could utilize. I don't think he planned on keeping them there and like having them live there permanently or anything.
You had suggested before that you were planning on moving out prior to April.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And how much prior to when you actually did move out were you thinking about leaving?
I mean, two months before, I had asked Max if he would write me like a letter of recommendation to the new apartment complex that I'm currently staying at.
So you had already looked for a new
Oh
apartment?
yeah, I already got one, signed the lease and everything. I was on my way out.
Let's switch gears a little bit. Why don't you explain, where's the garage?
So the garage from here is, if you turn 180 degrees and look straight back, it's an unattached garage, so it is way in the back.
I'm going to show you exhibits 450, 451, and 452. You look at these 3 photos and then tell me if you recognize those.
Yes. Yeah, this is the outside of the fence. This is where the garage is located in exhibit 450. That is the garage there.
Are all of these pictures photographs from the residence?
Absolutely.
I'd move those 3 exhibits in and ask for publish.
Any objection?
No.
So they are received and go right ahead.
Let's start here with 452. What are we looking at?
This is the view into the backyard outside of the back fence.
Just inside the fence to sort of the left side into the, that would be where the majority of the backyard is, right?
Yeah, if you were to walk in and take a left, that's where most of the backyard is, correct?
And were there any other projects going on back in that part of the yard?
He said, so right here on the left where you see the bent license plate, he told me previously that he wanted to turn that into like some sort of outdoor bar, but the only thing he did was basically dig a hole.
Dug another hole?
Yeah, a smaller hole than the first one, of course, but there was nothing there other than a hole.
How long have you been working on those projects?
Objection, relevance.
How low? If you can answer it if you can.
He'd been working on them since before I was there. I mean, he would go out there. I mean, the holes were open before I moved in. So I would say it's definitely longer than 2 years. I can't give you a definitive answer, but.
Exhibit 451, what are we looking at?
This is, if you look on the left there, that's the actual garage. And then, yeah, just another view of the back fence looking into the backyard.
Where the camera person is standing right now, is that kind of a parking slab?
That is a parking slab, and that's where I would park my Honda Civic some nights.
And then other nights you would park on the street?
On the street, yeah. Depending on how I was feeling that day, yeah.
In front of the house?
In front of the house, correct.
450 is on the screen right now. Is that kind of a photo of that parking slab?
Yeah, that is correct.
Is this trailer normally not there?
Yeah, the trailer is not there.
Okay. What is this that I'm pointing to here? Do you know what that is?
That looks like a light to me.
Did you know there to be a light back there?
I did know of a light to be there, yes. That one actually, yes, that one was motion censored.
Okay. How did that light get there?
He hung it up one day, I think probably right after I moved in, just so I had a light, so that like, when I was parking back there, I could see what I was doing.
Was it affixed to the tree or was it just kind of
I
hanging?
think it was just kind of tied up there, yeah. I'm not sure what it used. I didn't even look, but.
Do you know where the power source for that light was?
I have no clue.
That wasn't your concern? It just
Nah, as long as there's a light out there and I can see. I didn't look that far into it.
So what I'm gathering from these photos then was the backyard completely fenced in?
Absolutely.
Would he let his dogs back there?
Yeah.
Would you let your dogs back there?
No, my dog doesn't get along with any other dogs.
And so you take your dog out the front door?
Out the front, yes.
Did you utilize the backyard for anything?
No, I mean, to walk through it to get to my car when I did park there, that was about it.
What about the garage? Did you use the garage?
I had no access to the garage
Do you
at
know-
all.
At all?
At all. It was completely locked up.
Okay. Had you ever been in there?
I honestly, I cannot recall a time that I was ever in there. Maybe when he had the garage door open, I walked by it, but no, I've never been in there physically.
Did you know what was in there?
I knew that he had an older truck in there, and then there was just no space because I wanted to originally park in there, but he had his car, and then he had an older truck there, and I believe he had some kind of electric bicycle or something as well. So
Was the older truck even functional to your knowledge?
no, it wasn't. It was all taken apart in the garage. I think it was a project truck or something.
All right, I want to switch gears slightly, Mr. Warbington. While you were living at the house, did you know it to be common for Maxwell Anderson to have people over in his unit?
All the time, yes.
Were there times where it was noisy?
Absolutely.
Were there times that it was noisy at hours that were bothered you?
Oh yeah, I've had meetings with corporate at 8 a.m. and he's been up at 5 in the morning with companies just singing at the top of his lungs upstairs.
Where were you working at the time back in April of 2024?
In April, I was in the office. I was an inside sales rep, so I was forced to work from inside my actual office, whereas now I work from home. So
You had suggested before that there were times where you were working out of your apartment,
yeah, absolutely. If I have to go out on projects or meet with clients, stuff like that.
and at strange hours, they would be loud.
Always.
Okay. How often would he have people over?
I would say, I mean, 2 to 3 times a month, there was probably a night where I didn't get any sleep until 3 o'clock in the morning
Because why?
because of the noise and the carrying on. I mean, drunk people coming over, falling down the stairs in the hallway. I had to hear all that, knocking stuff off the walls.
And this is separate from the project?
Yeah, this is completely separate.
Okay. It was not uncommon then for you to hear noises coming from his apartment,
Not uncommon at all.
particularly even at night.
Even at night, yes.
I want to take your attention back to around the time that you indicated you had been removed from your apartment by police.
Mhm.
That week, where were you working that week?
That would be in office. So I was in my office in Menominee Falls.
What was your daily routine in your work week? I assume it was Monday through Friday?
Yeah, Monday through Friday. 7:30 is the time that I start. So I'm usually up at 6:30 getting ready, and then I'll leave. And then I drove to Menominee Falls from 39th Street. I would stay there until about 3:30, 4 o'clock, and then make my way home.
So Menominee Falls, how long a drive? 20 minutes? 25?
25, 30 maybe.
You had to be there by 7:30?
I had to be there by 7:30.
That week that you were removed from your apartment, did you work each day that week? or
Each day was in the office. Yes, correct.
What time would you get up?
Right around 6:15.
And that week, do you recall what day of the week that the police came?
I believe that was on Thursday, the 4th or so.
April 4th?
Yeah, April 4th.
Earlier that week, just follow the same routine,
Same routine as just like any other week.
okay? At any point in that week, did you recall, well, actually, let me ask this question. What time would you go to bed?
I try to go to bed around, 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Were you able to do that week?
That week I was. It was surprisingly, like I've told, the investigators, I didn't really hear much from Max in the 2 weeks prior to, it was actually quite pleasant around the house. I didn't even think he was there. I thought he was elsewhere,
Had you seen him in that 2 week span?
No.
So you hadn't seen him?
No.
Did you hear him?
I did not hear him up until I heard him. On which day, I'm not exactly certain, but it was definitely the week before the cops came and pulled me out of my house. I heard him getting ready and packing what I thought was, a suitcase or something, like he was going to stay elsewhere. And in my head, I'm like, oh, well, thank God he's leaving. It'll be quiet around here. So I heard him bringing down something. Which day I can't confirm. Tuesday, Wednesday, it could be any day. And I heard him bringing something down the stairs. That's the only piece of information that I've heard of him. That's the only interaction that I have with him, probably within 2 to 3 weeks of me being pulled from the house.
All right. So I'm going to break that down just a bit.
Yeah.
You hadn't seen or heard of him in probably 2 weeks up until you were removed from your apartment.
Correct.
And at some point that week, we'll call it the week of April 1st, which would be Monday to the 5th, Friday. And then
Correct.
You said you were removed on the 4th, Thursday.
Yep.
At some point earlier that week, before you were removed, you heard him up in the morning.
Absolutely.
Do you know which day?
I do not know. I cannot confirm which day that was.
You don't know if it was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
It was one of those 3 days, but I do not know which day.
And that's what you told investigators?
That's what I told everybody. I've always held that I did not know which day it was, but that was the last time that I'd ever heard from him.
Outside of that, did you hear anything else of him throughout that week?
Nothing, absolutely nothing. Like I said, I didn't even think he was there.
Okay. Would there be times where he wasn't there for periods of time?
Yeah, he would. Sometimes he would go and just, stay with some friends or whatever, from what I understood, or he would go help his dad, I think, doing some work wherever they went. And so there was some time periods where he'd be gone for a couple of days on end. Yeah,
And it would be quieter around then?
absolutely.
What is this demon C taking notes for? What are you writing? I'm so tired of these low light they write. What are you writing? I wish we could see what they be writing sometime. Oh well, resume.
I'm going to show you Exhibit 403. And before I get into 403, you indicated you've always maintained you weren't sure which day that you heard him up in the morning, right?
Absolutely.
And that morning that you heard him, it would have been at that time around the 6 a.m. hour where you getting ready to go.
Yeah, 5:30 to 6 a.m. Yes.
What's 403?
That's my cell phone in my hand, holding my phone in my living room.
And do you remember the police taking this photo?
I do. Yes.
All right, I moved 403 in.
Any objection?
No.
403 is received.
What is 403?
You asking me? Yeah. This is a photo of my cell phone and Maxwell Anderson's phone number where I would contact him for, house related things.
Can you tell the jury what the phone number is that you would contact Maxwell Anderson at?
Yeah, it's going to be 262-416-4874.
Put 403 on the home. Do you want to save his Max?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is that a yes?
Yes,
And then a little hard to see, but the phone number is right down there.
that is correct.
All right, I just have a few more questions, sir. You had indicated previously that you were having problems with the laundry, right? At some point.
I wasn't having problems with my laundry, but one of his washers had broken, and so he started to utilize. Obviously, there was 2 washers and 2 dryers in the basement. So 2 obviously were reserved for me, 2 were reserved for him. One of his I think his washer broke or something, so he started to utilize mine. Well, I go down there and I try to do laundry, and I'm staring at a thing full of his clothes, and I just didn't want to deal with that, so I stopped even going down there to do laundry.
Was that happening all the way up until the time you had moved out of there, or no?
I would say it only happened like that thing must have broke like 2 or 3 months before all this even happened. So
How did you communicate with him about that?
I didn't say anything about it. I would just turn the clothes over if it was. And then after a while, I just got sick of it. And it didn't matter what I brought to his attention. He wasn't going to change anything. So
Did you ever move his laundry?
yes.
Would you let him know?
Yeah. I'd shoot him a text and say, hey, I just put your stuff over. I just need to dry something real quick or whatever.
Sure. Okay. As a courtesy.
Yeah.
Would he do a lot of woodworking?
Always. Yeah.
Objection, relevance. He's a woodworker or not.
I'm sorry. He said, what did? would the last-
Objection, relevance.
Dave?
It is is relevant. I can ask a different question though.
Okay, ask a different question.
He had a lot of power tools.
From what I understood, yes, he had to have.
Tools used for what?
Used for cutting, sawing, drilling, things of that nature. Like we were just talking about the fence. That was that was some fresh work that he did.
And would he use these to do the woodworking?
Yes, I believe so. Yes.
Do you know exactly what kinds of tools?
I do not. All I could do is hear him through the walls.
How often would you hear him using power tools?
I mean, there would be definitely 2 or 3 days a month where he was going on and on.
That back gate here, 451 on the screen. Up here. This back gate, to your knowledge, did that door latch or was it loose?
So the back fence door, I believe it was loose. The locking mechanism had shut. However, Maxwell would put I guess a little socket or something, at least so it would be secure and wouldn't blow open.
Okay.
But I would say 9 days out of 10, it was just wide open like that.
Okay, and I'm pointing to this door here. Is that what you're talking
Correct.
about? So it wasn't a secure door.
No.
Couple more questions, sir. The police came to your house on April 4th.
Mhm.
You've established that. They pulled you out of your apartment, right?
Yes,
Were you otherwise cooperative with them?
absolutely.
And did they ask you for permission to search your apartment?
They did.
And did you let them?
I did.
Nothing else. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Cross-examination.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How about you?
Good. Do you, with respect to these photographs that you have looked at today, do you know when those photos were taken?
So that trailer there was brought to the house, I believe, by Maxwell's family. So this would be after April 4th. And I believe they brought the trailer to clean out the apartment. So
And the one of you on the front step, do you know what day that was taken?
that would have been probably that April 4th. Yeah, maybe the 5th,
Okay.
after they were doing the search of the house.
Right,
They allowed me back into the house after everything happened. And so there I was on the front porch.
right. I just sort of wanted to jump into that part of things too.
Mhm.
Obviously, can we take this picture down here? Yes. Yeah, I may go through some of them. We'll just keep going down for now. Okay. So just to sort of recap, as the house is laid out, you have a front door, but that front door is only for your unit.
Only
right?
for my unit, yes.
Max doesn't go in the front door to get up to his.
No, never.
Side door, all 3 areas of the home are accessible: basement, your unit, or upstairs.
Correct. Absolutely correct.
And the basement is not locked in any way. You can just go right down there if you want.
Yeah, there's
right?
not even a door. You just walk right down. Yeah.
Exactly. And so everyone has free use of the space, meaning the 2 of you, except you've said you don't keep any of your stuff down there. You're clear on that,
Correct.
right?
I never put anything down there.
And with respect to Max's tools, we saw a workbench there, right?
Correct.
Did you ever go through his tools and look at the various things that he had?
There was only one time specifically that I even went over into that area. And that was when our neighbor asked to use a handsaw. And so I went down there, found the handsaw and provided it to her.
Got it. So next door neighbor.
Yeah, that was the only time that I would ever go down there.
And in terms of it'll be a good opportunity to show you this picture again, sir. Exhibit 452, you can see that here.
See what here?
Exhibit 452, you see a picture.
Yes, I see this. Yeah.
Okay, and Max's home, or your home, if you will, on the left, and on the right, neighbor's house.
Yep. Correct.
And the fence actually runs almost right up to that house next door, doesn't it?
Yeah, they're very close. Yes.
Houses are very close. right?
Yes. Correct.
And that's common in this area. If you were to go up and down the street, all the houses are just close together.
That's
right?
correct.
These aren't big acre lots with tons of space.
This is correct.
It's a working class neighborhood.
Absolutely.
Okay, and if you look at the home to the right side, as we're looking at the picture, the home on the right side, there's even a window right up there, isn't there?
That is correct. Yes.
And there's even windows right on the side of the home that look sort of not in, I don't want to say into your house, but at your house, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Is this the neighbor that you gave the tool to?
That
the
is
one time?
correct.
That is right?
That is correct.
Okay, and so this was somebody who obviously was comfortable enough to come over and knock on the door and say, hey, do you got a saw I can borrow?
Yeah. Well, not so much maybe with me because I'm just the tenant, but Maxwell lived there for a large portion of time and he knew her. Yes.
Right, there's no bad blood between the
No,
two
not
of
at all.
you.
She's the sweetest lady I've ever met.
Okay, and you knew Max's dad because his father had coached you in Little League.
Yeah, in Little League.
Right?
That's correct.
Okay, so you knew the family.
Well, I knew his father, not so much his mother or
You
his
knew
father's
Dad.
new girlfriend. But yes, I know his father. Yes.
Okay, and so just so it's clear, that upstairs patio that we see on the left side of your guys' house, that's Max's,
That's
right?
all Max. I've never even been up there. No.
And you're the basement guy coming all the way back to the backyard, right?
That's true. This window right here, that's my kitchen. On the first floor there, that's my kitchen.
You could look right out that window, right out those 3 windows. You could look right into the backyard.
Yes,
And there's a walkway, there's a path that goes, as we're looking right now, the path that goes from garage to the house.
Yep.
Straight shot.
Yep.
Directly alongside a neighbor's house, right?
Yep.
That's a yes, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, if one wanted to go out into the front of the home, a person could go through the gate at the end of the walkway.
That is correct.
If a person wanted to go to the alley, they would just walk down this path and they would be in the alley.
That is correct.
First, they'd go past a garage on the right-hand side, but then they'd be in an alley.
You are correct.
And you could park your Honda Civic. You had a Honda Civic?
Yeah.
It's a
Yes.
common car, right?
Yes.
You could park your Civic in the back if you wanted to, but often you would choose not to, right?
Yes, that is correct.
But if you wanted to, you could park it right on the slab there, couldn't you?
Yes.
And just walk up that pathway and get in the side
Yes,
door.
absolutely.
In that side door, a couple things I want to point out about the side door, if you remember, okay? Number one, you can see there's an overhang over that door. Isn't there a little white metal awning, if you will, hanging over the door?
Yes, that's correct.
And that door actually had a hydraulic arm, if you remember, that would control it opening and closing.
Well,
right?
it did, but then it came off, and I asked Max to fix that, and he never did.
Right, you didn't fix it.
No.
That was seems like, I'm just gonna go out on a limb here and say, it seems like you were bothered by him in some respects as a landlord.
I mean, it was, like I said, it was a trade-off. I knew that I was living in a place that I didn't want to live in because of how loud and disruptive he was, and Max was going to do whatever Max wanted to do at any time of the day. But the trade-off is he was very
Flexible.
lenient, flexible with payments and stuff like that. Me just getting my foot in the door in professional America, I needed that at the time.
Right. And I don't want to ask where you work, but it's a corporate type job.
Yes,
You have
absolutely.
clients. And
Thank you for your
That's-
discretion. I said thank you for your discretion.
and
But yes.
you have clients and a schedule, though, is the point,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
And the hydraulic arm on the door, Max didn't fix it.
No,
The reason why that was a problem is because then instead of the door sort of halfway closing, it just,
slammed shut and would wake me out of a dead sleep no matter what.
right. And so you do remember the SWAT team coming to the home,
Absolutely.
because that's the only time that's ever happened. Do you?
That's the only time it's ever happened to me in my life.
And it was a very chaotic event, if you will. Is that
Yeah,
fair to
I
say?
had just gotten home from work and I believe I was taking a nap and then I just heard some beating on the side door. And I initially thought Max had just like lost his keys or something and needed to be let in. But then as I go out there, there's guns and helmets and Kevlar vests and whatever.
And they removed
They
you
just,
from
yeah,
this-
just knocked on the door. I opened the door. I said, hey, what's going on? I don't know what you're here for, but I know it's not me. So what can I help you with? So
And then you, is it your testimony that was April 4th? Is that what I understand you to have said today? That was Thursday, April 4th.
Thursday the 4th, correct?
Okay. You also spoke with the police further on Saturday, April 6th. You would agree with that?
I believe so, yes.
And there was a time where law enforcement sat down with you. It was actually, I just want to explore if you remember this.
Yes,
You sat down with a few different officers that were
Mhm.
present to interview you, right?
3 or 4, yes.
Right, exactly. 3 or 4 officers. And they actually interviewed you in the lower level of that house.
Yeah, on my living room couch, yes.
As opposed to making you come to a police station and answer questions
This
there.
is correct.
And did they tell you that they were audio recording your interview, or did they not tell you?
They
that?
did. They absolutely notified me in that. And then they actually placed the recorder in front of me. So
So you could see it.
it was very apparent.
So if we need to refresh your recollection, we can always play that, okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
And did you have any objection to the officers recording you?
No, not at all.
And would you describe this interview as a consensual meeting, meaning you were willing to answer whatever questions? they
Absolutely.
had?
I've been nothing but, coherent with the law enforcement since the day that this happened.
Cooperative.
Cooperative, I'm sorry, thank you.
Coherent's good too.
Yeah, either way.
And you explained to the officers that you have in fact been upstairs to Mr. Anderson's residence in the past, right?
Yes,
And you testified to that today as well.
yes,
In fact, there was even a time when you were letting him use your internet, so you had access up there for that reason.
yes. He would call me anytime that his internet didn't work. My internet always works, but for some reason
Right.
he wouldn't get internet working up there. So I went up there a time or two to see if I could fix anything, but I couldn't anyway. So
Now, you estimated that you were up there maybe 10 times in the past, is that fair?
maybe. 10 seems a little steep. I'd say maybe even 5 or less.
Okay. And you did provide a phone number for Max, and you've testified to that today
Correct.
as well, right?
Correct.
The method of payment that you would write a check and put it on a windowsill in the hallway, that was all just a normal way in which you pay
Correct.
rent, right?
Correct.
And
So the court reporter can't take it down if you speak at the same time. So if you could just take a breath before you answer and give it a second.
Oh, you got it. My apologies.
I think you just did that to me.
Huh? Did I?
Yeah. you
Oh, I'm
just-
sorry.
Just take a breath. It's okay. Go ahead. Your next question, please.
thank you. And the officers were asking you questions about your history with Max leading up to this incident. Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say, yes.
They zeroed in on questions about the night of April 1st. Do you remember that?
I remember the night, yes, but I don't have anything to report on that night.
Sure. I'll just ask some questions.
Yeah,
about
go
it.
ahead. Go ahead.
If you have nothing to report, tell the jury. you
Yeah,
have nothing.
absolutely.
Okay. So my question was, the police sort of zeroed in on that night of April 1st, which would have been a Monday.
Correct.
And we already know that based on your schedule, you worked a normal, if you will, corporate job
Correct.
at that time
Correct.
with a regular schedule of, I think you said 7:30 to roughly 3:30 or 4 o'clock, give or take, right?
Correct.
Some people wake up very early in the morning to get their workouts in or whatever they end up doing, go for walks. Your schedule was, if you work at 7:30, you get up at 6:30, right?
Correct.
Get yourself ready, get to your vehicle, drive to work.
Correct.
All right. That we all have routines. That was sort of your routine during the work week.
Yes.
You are, and you told the police, you are a light sleeper,
Very much so. Yes.
very much so. Right.
Yes. Correct.
And what you've said is that you are a very sensitive person to noise. You could hear, just in general, that's how you are oriented. You hear noise very, very frequently.
That's correct. Yes.
You used an example of even if Miss Max's dog was chewing a bone on the floor, you could even hear that at times.
That's correct. Yes.
And that there were times where you would text Max or say, knock it off.
Absolutely.
I'm trying,
50 times, if not 100. Yes.
I'm trying to sleep.
Yeah.
Max is a you always knew Max as a bartender.
Yes.
Bartenders, for better or for worse, often have a different schedule than us working folk.
Which I understood and I respected. Yes, you're correct.
And it can get bothersome at times. A person bartends till 2 a.m. They bring people home from the bar and you're trying to get up a few hours later to go to work.
That's correct.
So the two of you had a different paths in life, if you will.
Yes. Very different.
You mentioned Victor's as one place that you knew that Max had worked
Yes, that's correct.
as a bartender.
As a bartender, yes.
And the noise coming from upstairs, there's really not a whole lot of soundproofing as far as you can tell in this house, right?
No, older house. I mean, anytime he moved, I mean, and I understood what a tolerable level of noise is, but even still, I mean, so much as him walking around, I could hear it up there.
Yeah, the walking around.
Yeah, just even walking around, which I mean, I wasn't complaining about that. I was complaining about the louder stuff. So
Yeah, nobody's saying you're texting him saying stop walking.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, but you could hear a lot of
Absolutely.
noise. And law enforcement zeroed in on that night of April 1st. We talked about that, sort of that Sunday leading into Monday, that time frame. And I think what you've said here is that there was perhaps one day that week where it's your opinion, you heard Max at, say it again, a 5 a.m., 4:30?
Yeah, right around 5:30, 6 a.m. I would say that I heard him bringing what I thought was a suitcase. I thought he was packing and leaving or something like that for, a couple of days, which he was known to do.
Yes, 5:30 or 6 a.m.
5:30 to 6 a.m.
And that's the reason you can identify that as a time is because of your work schedule being a 7:30. I'm up at 6, and I can remember there was a day
Yes,
where it was like 6 a.m. and Max, or maybe 5:30, and Max is up.
correct.
Is that because you talked to him?
No, that's not because I talked to him. It's because I heard him coming down the stairs with presumably what I thought was a suitcase.
Got it. So you can remember hearing him at a 5:30 or 6 a.m. with what you thought was a suitcase.
Correct.
Okay. Not 1 o'clock in the morning,
No, this was early hours of the day.
not 2 a.m. when it would be bar time coming home and that time of day,
No, I heard nothing.
or midnight.
Nothing. I've heard absolutely nothing that night.
Okay. When you say that night, I mean, is the elephant in the room here? Are you talking about the night that Sade came over, of which we're
I'm talking about the April 1st night in discussion that we've
Got
been
it.
talking about.
Okay. When you say that night, that's what you're referring to.
Yeah, that is the night that I'm referring to.
So no noise that night,
No noise,
no screaming
no screaming,
or struggling,
no sounds of struggling.
or a saw being used.
No, nothing like that. I assure you, if I would have heard a power saw going, I would have woken up immediately and had something to say about it.
Yes. Or if it was 1 in the morning, it's 1 in the morning and you hear thump, 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 thump coming down the stairs, that's something you'd want to address.
Correct.
But if it's 5:30 or 6 and I'm going to work, not as big of a deal.
Exactly correct.
And maybe this is already did you hear anybody ever scream?
I've heard absolutely nothing. I want to share with the court, I didn't even know that he was there.
It was that quiet,
It was that quiet.
not any, and that's coming from you, the light sleeper.
Yes, correct.
And similarly, you didn't hear someone rummaging around the basement collecting a bunch of tools
No, nothing like that.
or anything in the basement at all.
I didn't hear anything in the basement at all.
And actually, if Max were to exit the house, the only way Max is getting out of his unit, other than jumping off a balcony or a window, is to go out that side door
Out that side door, correct.
with the hydraulic arm that doesn't work,
You are correct.
right into the neighbor's home, literally right up to the neighbor's home.
You are correct, yes.
So, and then down the path to his car.
Correct.
Did you hear him dragging a body down the stairs at 1 a.m?
I did not hear anything at 1 a.m. The only thing that I heard was what I thought to be a suitcase or something coming down, like I said, at 5:30 in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning.
And you don't even know what it is because you didn't see it.
You're correct. I have absolutely no idea. All I know is that something large was being transported down the stairs at approximately 5:30 to 6 a.m. I cannot testify and say I knew what it was. No.
Well, Max had dogs, right?
Correct.
And you said 2 of them. I think you said, didn't he have 2 dogs?
2 dogs, correct.
So dogs sometimes need to go out, right?
That's correct.
I know there's some accidents that happen in the house sometimes, but Max would take his dogs out of the house, right?
For the most part, yes.
But again, you didn't even look to see, is it dog running out with him? Is Max did you know if he let his dogs out at 5:30 or something?
No, I didn't even, I heard the noise that he was leaving and I was, in my mind, I'm saying, good, he's leaving. I can go to work and come home and maybe it'll be peaceful when I get home. So I did not check or investigate or see anything at all. The only thing that I can say that I heard was, like I said, something such as a suitcase being brought down the stairs.
And you've even described yourself as a quote pain in the ass when he's loud. That's how you've described yourself to the police, right?
Describe myself.
Yeah, that even
You
if there's too
rephrase
much
it?
noise, you describe yourself, I'm a pain in the ass. I'll let him know. if
Yeah,
I have a problem.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I want to go back to when you were seated in the, was it your family room talking to the 4 officers or 3
Correct.
officers? And one of the officers you remember was a female, right? Or one of the detectives, I'm sorry, one of the detectives.
They could have very well been. I do not recall
Okay.
what each individual person looked like. I can't answer that definitively.
And you said, I heard no strange or loud noises coming from Anderson's residence Monday night, April 1st, going into Tuesday morning, April 2nd. True?
I heard, yeah, like I said, the only noise that I heard was him coming down the stairs. And I cannot testify and say honestly which day that was. I don't know if that was Monday.
Right.
I don't know if that was Tuesday.
Right. The coming down the stairs with the suitcase, leaving the house or something.
Correct. That's all
whatever
that I
it
heard.
was. Could have been Tuesday
Correct.
or Wednesday.
Could have been any day.
Okay. But what you are sure about is the time being at 5:30 to 6:15.
I'm 100% positive of that as I'm getting ready for work.
That we're 100% on. Right.
Correct.
And then had you heard about a body part washing up? Was that something you had heard about at the time?
Not until weeks later. Yeah, I follow the news and obviously that was a pretty big story.
People,
yeah,
people were reading articles.
I
about
just
it.
saw it on Facebook. Yeah.
Click on a link or something.
Yeah.
Because it's interesting or.
Yeah, it's a leg. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, in terms of you using the side door, there's some questions about your car being in front, but you would use the side door as well.
Yes, correct.
It's not like you never used it.
No, I have before. I would say honestly, it's probably a 50-50 crapshoot on whether I park in the front or whether I park to the back.
And even if you wanted to take your trash out every week, if you want to take your trash out, you'd use the side door for that.
That is correct. Yes.
So you're using it at least once a week for that purpose.
Yes.
And was trash pickup on Mondays, if you remember?
I cannot recall.
Or Tuesdays? You don't remember the
I
day?
can't recall which day it was that trash went out. The cans were permanently outside of the garage, so we didn't have to take the trash cans out. The trash truck would just come by and take them from where they were currently sitting.
And Max you've never seen Max drive any vehicle other than his Hyundai. Would you agree with that?
No vehicle other than that black SUV. I've never seen him drive anything other than that vehicle.
There was a truck in the garage you told the jury about, but that was in a state of disrepair.
Yeah, that truck was not going anywhere and it never did go anywhere as long as I lived there.
And in terms of are you here did you ever go down in the basement that week of April 1st to April? Strike that, that's a bad question. There's the laundry machines down in the basement, obviously, right? You do agree that actually, even that week of April 1st through the interview with the police, you had even done laundry down there at least one day that week, right?
I cannot recall. I sincerely doubt it. It got to the point where, like I said, I wasn't interested in sharing a washing machine with somebody. So a lot of the time, I was spending a lot of time with, some family nearby anyway, just to get out of the house for a bit. And I do my laundry there mostly.
And you said that the police asked you about that basement specifically. You said you've never seen anything strange in the basement.
No, everything that is down there, would say I would find in a normal basement.
In that Max was he liked to do arts and crafts projects, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Home improvement, stuff like that.
But arts and crafts too,
Sure.
and home improvement. You said arts and crafts as well as home improvement.
Yeah, I mean, he would draw, like, he would have drawings and stuff, not so much arts and crafts. I mean, for example, if this counts as arts and crafts, he had a cat one time and he made it a little cat house.
Mhm.
So things like that. Yes, that's correct.
In that, there was the hole on the side yard where he was going to have a dog kennel, right?
Yes, dog kennel / whatever
Tool
else.
shed.
Tool shed. Yes, correct.
And then a tiki bar in the back of the yard. There was
Correct.
an idea for that.
Correct.
1 minute, Judge, please. Those are all my questions. Thank you.
Mistake?
Was Mr. Anderson aware that you were a light sleeper, so to speak?
I believe so. The countless interactions that we had where I'm having to tell him to quiet down, I would assume he got the picture. Yes.
Your reason for assuming he would have gotten the pictures because of the times you had complained to him.
Yeah, countless times. Correct.
Were you, that week that the police were at your house, were you ever going out into the side yard in the middle of the night?
No, never. No,
You would have been what? Doing what?
I would have been dead asleep.
This time that you heard what you believe to be a suitcase, did you also hear that door opening and slamming?
I did hear the door opening as he was leaving with whatever it was that he was bringing down the stairs. Correct.
Was it a loud door?
It's a screaming loud door with the hydraulic arm not there. It just slammed right shut.
But your testimony is that you are not sure which day of the week that was.
I am not sure. I cannot pinpoint. I do not feel comfortable sitting up here and pinpointing a date. I do not know which day.
Back when you first spoke to detectives, just days after they were at your house, did you also inform them of whether you knew which day that was?
I also held with them. I wasn't sure. I've always held that I am not positive as to which day it was that I heard him coming down. It had been raining for like 2 weeks. There was no sunny day that I could differentiate one day from the next. And I was working on a good deal of projects with work that week.
I have nothing else.
Very hot.
No.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Take your next witness.
Dr. Lauren,
We're just gonna take a quick bathroom break.
Detective John, John, Galat, Guillot.
You testified earlier that you're a detective with the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Were you working in that capacity on April 4th, 2024?
Correct, yes.
What were your duties that day?
That specific day did a bunch of follow-up. On that day, I was assigned along with Joseph Blanchard to go conduct follow-up initially at the pizza shuttle. From there, while we're en route to the pizza shuttle, which again, Miss Robinson was employed there, we drove past Victor's, which is a bar on the Lower East Side of Milwaukee. It's kind of like a bar / nightclub. As we're driving by Victor's, I noticed that there was a black Hyundai Sonata parked in the parking lots. Of note, I knew two things. I knew that law enforcement obtained information that Mr. Anderson was a bartender at Victor's, and I also knew that Mr. Anderson was the registered owner of a black Hyundai Sonata.
Just to ask, a Sonata is a sedan, correct?
I believe it's an SUV.
Is a Santa Fe? an
Sorry,
SUV?
pardon me. Yes, yeah, that's correct.
Okay. So at that time, you were doing follow-up specific to this case, specific to Sade Robinson, correct?
That is correct, yes.
And you went into April 4th knowing that Maxwell Anderson drove a Hyundai Santa Fe, correct?
Correct, yes.
You were also aware that he worked at Victor's.
Correct, yes.
Do you know the address of Victor's?
Yes, it's, I believe, 1230 North Van Buren Street. Again, that's located on the east side of Milwaukee.
And through this investigation that you were part of, were you aware that Maxwell Anderson was the last person to have contact with Sade Robinson before her death?
That is correct, yes.
Describe what you did as you saw that vehicle, that Santa Fe.
So as we saw the black Santa Fe, we kind of circled around the block. We drove past the Santa Fe for a second time, and I noticed that Santa Fe had a Wisconsin license plate of AMR 8083 affixed to the back of the vehicle. I knew based upon our investigation, that specific vehicle was the registered vehicle of Mr. Anderson. So I was able to confirm that vehicle was Mr. Anderson's.
Approximately what time did you see the vehicle?
It's approximately 12:30 to 12:45 p.m.
And at this point, how are you traveling?
We are at this point in an unmarked squad car. We are going northbound on, I believe, Van Buren. Once we see the vehicle and once we confirm the vehicle, I also noticed that the vehicle is unoccupied. We essentially set up surveillance across the streets on Mr. Anderson's vehicle.
What did you see?
Myself, like I said, we were on surveillance for approximately 10, 15 minutes. At first, we didn't see any movements. After about 15 minutes elapsed, we saw, or I should say, I saw Mr. Anderson walking eastbound on East Juneau Avenue towards his vehicle. Mr. Anderson was wearing a black colored jacket. He had some kind of knit cap on, and he was carrying a backpack.
When you're referring to Mr. Anderson, are you referring to somebody in the courtroom today?
I am, yes.
Can you describe where that person's sitting and what they're wearing?
I'll stipulate.
The record will still reflect.
Thank you. Upon seeing Mr. Anderson, what did he do?
Like I said, Mr. Anderson, he crossed over the intersection of East Juneau Avenue and Van Buren. He walked to his vehicle, entered into his vehicle, and he sat in his vehicle for approximately 10 to 15 minutes.
Did you indicate whether or not he was carrying anything?
Yes, he's carrying a backpack over his shoulders.
Okay, can you describe what that backpack looked like?
I believe it was a standard black and color backpack.
Are you aware of surveillance footage that the Milwaukee Police Department obtained through this investigation?
Yes,
Are you aware of a camouflage color backpack that was depicted on certain surveillance footage?
yes.
Was this that backpack?
I don't believe so, no.
After the defendant gets into his car, what do you do?
Like I stated before, he sat in the vehicle for approximately 10 minutes, and then eventually he reversed his vehicle. The defendant, Mr. Anderson, again, was the lone occupant driver of the vehicle. He started heading in a southern direction through the east side of Milwaukee / downtown area. At that point, Detective Blanchard and I continued to follow Mr. Anderson in our unmarked squad car. Once we got to the area of West Clybourne Street, Mr. Anderson entered the I-94 and began traveling westbound on I-94. As he's continuing to travel westbound on I-94, several other detectives assisted. They're also driving unmarked squad cars. We continue to follow Mr. Anderson to the 27th Street off-ramp, at which point he takes the off-ramp and starts begin driving southbound on 27th Street from I-94.
Where does South 27th Street go at that point?
We continue following Mr. Anderson all the way down to, I believe, Holt Avenue. Mr. Anderson started driving westbound on Holt Avenue to which point he gets to Lakefield Drive. And he's continuing to drive westbound on Lakefield Drive, at which point I know that Mr. Anderson's registered address is essentially just around the corner. So at that particular time, I also should note that I knew our detectives had secured a signed search warrant for Mr. Anderson's residence. So I believed also that Mr. Anderson was heading home at that time.
You are aware his residence was at what address?
I believe it is 3161 South 39th Street.
And you were aware that other members of the Sheriff's Department were presently at that residence or going to be very shortly at that residence to execute a search warrant?
That is correct. That was also a part of my thinking during my arrest operation. We had other sheriff's detectives at the residence. We had detectives following Mr. Anderson. And my whole goal at that point was not to let Mr. Anderson get back to his residence.
Did you effectuate a traffic stop?
I did, yes.
You personally did in your squad car?
It was in Detective Blanchard's unmarked squad car. We activated our unmarked squad car's emergency lights and in the area of North 38th Street and West Lakefield Drive.
How far away from the residence of 3161 South 39th Street is that?
I would estimate a block and a half.
What happened?
Mr. Anderson stopped. We, as in me and Detective Blanchard, exited our unmarked squad car. We approached on the driver's side while Deputy Ethan Stout approached on the passenger side. We made contact with Mr. Anderson. I asked Mr. Anderson to shut off his vehicle, to which he complied. I then asked Mr. Anderson to step out of the vehicle, to which again he complied. I immediately grabbed onto Mr. Anderson and I took him into custody by placing him in the handcuffs.
I think that's a perfect place to stop. Okay, it's 11:57. So there is the chief judge directive that I be off the record at noon. So I need to stop at this point. Remember the admonitions: no talking amongst yourselves, no research, no investigation, no posting of anything. Wear your badges real visible so everybody in the hallway can see you, please. I have one matter to do at 1:30, unless we stone it. Okay, we're going to say 1:45. I'd like to go on the record at 1:45. That one matter shouldn't take very long. So we'll kick right back up at 1:45 and jump right back in this. Please leave your notebooks on your chair and have a lovely lunch. It's supposed to be hot out. Good day for a walk. We'll see you back this afternoon. Thanks.
Detective John, John Guillot, Guillot.
Prior to lunch, you testified that you arrested Maxwell Anderson, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, and you identified Maxwell Anderson as being present in the courtroom today, right?
Correct, yes.
I'm going to show you what's been previously received as Exhibit 204. Can you see that up on the screen?
I can, yes.
The person that's depicted in Exhibit 204, is that the same person that you arrested?
That is the same person that I arrested on April 4th, 2024, yes.
And that is Maxwell Anderson?
That is Maxwell Anderson.
You testified that when he was arrested, or sorry, when you conducted surveillance on the defendant, you saw him with a backpack, correct?
Correct, yes.
Was that backpack ultimately recovered?
It was, yes.
And the backpack that can be seen in Exhibit 204, is that the same backpack as was recovered?
No, it does not appear. So if you take a look at the actual still shot, it appears to be like a tan camel backpack. The backpack recovered in Mr. Anderson's vehicle was a black backpack.
So let's go back to the traffic stop. You had interaction with him, correct?
I did, yes.
Okay, and when did that begin?
So when we got to the area of South 38th Street and West Lakefield Drive, like I stated before, we activated our emergency lights. We exited out of our vehicle and we approached Mr. Anderson's vehicle. My partner, Detective Blanchard, informed Mr. Anderson the reason of the traffic stop, to which I then asked Mr. Anderson, where are you heading to? Mr. Anderson responded by saying he was going to the Greenfield Greenfield DMV.
Are you aware of where the Greenfield DMV is located?
Yes, I believe it's 5500 Grange Avenue in Greenfield.
And at this point, you testified you were about a block or a block and a half away from the defendant's house, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Was he traveling in the direction of the Greenfield DMV?
No, I believe that Mr. Anderson was heading to his house.
Can you describe how the defendant appeared during your contact with him while he was still in the car?
Yeah, Mr. Anderson was seated in the driver's seat, physically shaking as he was talking to Detective Blanchard and I, to which point, again, we then asked Mr. Anderson to shut off his vehicle. He does. We asked Mr. Anderson to exit the vehicle. He does.
You testified that you told him what the reason for the traffic stop was, correct?
That's correct, yes.
What did you inform him?
So we kind of did a ruse. We informed him that it was for expired registration, which was a valid traffic stop.
You didn't come out and say you're wanted for the homicide of Sade Robinson.
That's correct, no.
So at the point where he's talking about going to the DMV and physically shaking, he wasn't aware of why you were actually investigating him, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Describe how he was taken into custody.
He was asked to step out of the vehicle. He stepped out of the vehicle. He placed both his hands on top of the roof rack of his SUV. He placed, I believe, his wallet and a cell phone on top of the roof rack, at which point we brought down his hands. We placed his hands behind his back and then secured him in handcuffs.
The wallet and the cell phone, were those items recovered?
They were, yes.
Who recovered those?
Deputy Ethan Stout.
Do you recall what kind of cell phone?
Yes, it was a black, at least black in color Samsung.
Did Deputy Stout then provide you with those items for you to place on inventory?
That's correct, yes.
Was the vehicle searched at that point?
At that specific point, I don't believe it was, no.
What happened to the vehicle?
A tow company called Ray's Towing responded to the scene and they took possession of the vehicle, at which point another detective followed Ray's back to our substation, which is located in Wauwatosa, the secure substation. And the vehicle was placed in the substation and investigators later obtained a search warrant for that vehicle.
Where was the defendant then taken?
Mr. Anderson was escorted to a Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office deputy squad car, at which point he was then conveyed to our detective bureau for further processing.
Are you aware of certain demographic information about the defendant?
Yes.
Do you know his date of birth
I
and his
do.
age at the time of the arrest?
Yeah, Mr. Anderson's date of birth, I believe, is November 26, 1990. And his date of birth, his age at the arrest was 33 years old.
Are you aware of his height?
Yes,
What was that?
I believe approximately 6'1".
And are you aware of what his weight at the time of arrest was?
Yes, at the time of the arrest, I believe it was around 180 pounds.
What did you do with the phone and wallet?
For the phone, I placed it into a secure evidence locker, which is located at our detective bureau, which is 821 West State Street. And then the wallets, I'm not completely sure. He might have, the wallet might have went with him with his property.
You placed the phone on a specific inventory number, correct?
Correct.
Does 24001539 item 1 sound familiar?
Yes, it does.
Nothing further.
Cross?
Good afternoon, Detective.
Afternoon.
So I just want to just rewind back. You said that you saw Max's car parked in the Victor's parking lot, correct?
Correct.
And you had said that you were on your way to Pizza Shuttle, but you kind of just drove past Victor's, right?
Yeah, we're en route to Pizza Shuttle to conduct further follow-up. When we're en route to Pizza Shuttle, we just drove by Victor's.
Okay. And you could see his vehicle parked in the lot, right?
I could see a black SUV parked in the parking lot, yes.
And so it wasn't like hidden behind like the alleyway behind Victor's, right?
That's correct. It was just in the parking lot.
And his car was there because you knew he had worked there, correct?
I'm not sure why his car was there.
But at the time when you drove by, one of the reasons you drove by is because you were aware that Maxwell Anderson worked at Victor's, correct?
No, it was just more of a coincidence that we drove by.
Okay. And then after you had seen that vehicle, that's when you called other squads or other detectives to kind of set up surveillance, right?
Yeah, after I confirmed the vehicle's license plate, I can confirm that license plate listed back to Mr. Anderson. That's when I requested additional detectives to come.
And so you could see the license plate. The license plate hadn't been removed, correct?
That's correct.
Or covered up?
Correct.
And you knew the color of the vehicle when you first seen it, right?
That's correct.
And that the color of it was the same color that it was registered at with DMV, right?
Correct.
And then I think you said about 15 minutes afterwards, you actually see Max, right?
Correct.
And he's walking just towards his car.
Yep, he's walking eastbound on Juneau Avenue towards his vehicle.
And this area of Milwaukee, this is right by the Metro Market, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Oh, and then if you can travel down Juneau, you hit like Fiserv Forum, correct?
I believe so, yes.
And you said he was just walking, correct? He wasn't running?
Correct, just walking.
He wasn't like looking over his shoulder or making any furtive movements, correct?
Correct.
And he wasn't wearing a mask, correct?
Correct.
Or wasn't trying to disguise himself in any way?
Correct.
And then he gets into his car. You said he sits in there on his phone for maybe 10 minutes and then he drives.
That's correct, yes.
I should clarify. He drives away from Victor's, correct?
Correct.
In the direction of his home.
Correct.
And when you see him walking, from Juneau, you said he's wearing a backpack.
Correct.
And you were aware that he was seen carrying a backpack while on that city bus, so the exhibit that's up on the screen right now.
Correct.
I'm going to fast forward a little bit because I want to get to the pictures, the video footage I think that they have of them two together on the date. So I'm going to zoom over. So it's going to be silent for a second, but it's going to continue.
Confirm that it was in fact Sade's.
That's correct.
Once that was confirmed, that's when you went down there.
Correct.
Nothing else.
Cross?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
State?
Recalling Detective Galat.
Detective Galat, you're still under oath. State?
Detective, another role you played in this investigation was to look for surveillance video of locations that might be of note to the investigation, correct?
Correct.
Early on in the investigation, you were aware that exigency phone records were obtained, right?
That is correct, yes.
Did those records lead you to suspect that either Sade Robinson or Maxwell Anderson or both at some point went to the Twisted Fisherman restaurant?
Correct, yes.
Did you go to Twisted Fisherman and recover surveillance video?
I did, yes.
Who did you meet with to do that?
The owner, I believe his name was Russell Davis.
You went to the restaurant and talked to Mr. Davis
I did, yes.
and then subsequently reviewed video footage from that restaurant?
That is correct, yes.
On the screen, I have a disc that's marked 235. Do you recognize what this is?
I do, yes. This is surveillance footage from the Twisted Fisherman located at 1200 West Canal Drive, I believe,
And that's,
City and County of Milwaukee.
okay, and specifically down sort of in the Miller Valley, right?
Correct. Another landmark sort of by it is Potawatomi Bingo Casino.
And We Energies.
Correct, yes.
How many camera angles did you review and or recover?
I'm not exactly sure on the specific number. I know that there was an outside facing the deck area. There's another one on the other side facing east, and then there's multiple cameras inside the establishment.
This is one of those cameras,
Correct, yes.
and this would be looking at the west deck.
That is correct, yes.
Okay. All of these videos, what kind of system was it?
This was a Ring surveillance DVR system.
And the Ring logo is up here in the left corner.
That's correct, yes.
And date and timestamps on these videos were generally accurate.
That is correct, yes.
Okay, I'm going to move 235 in and ask to publish. I have numerous clips to play.
Any objection?
No.
Received, go ahead.
So to orient us, we're looking sort of in a northwestern direction, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Where my mouse is here, that would be the river.
Correct.
All right. Let me get the volume on first. Some of these have, or all of them, I think, have volume, right?
Correct.
All right, playing the first clip, and for the record, the video titles, well, I guess I'll ask you, Detective. These video titles, as they're labeled on here, that's not what they were labeled when you download them. Those were renamed for court presentation purposes, correct?
That is correct, yes.
I'm gonna play the video labeled arrive. It ends in arriving west deck.mp4. That 14-second clip, I'm gonna just go right to the beginning of it. It's a 14-second clip. It starts at what time?
17:09 hours, which is 5:09 p.m. on April 1st, 2024.
Did you see anybody in that clip that you recognize?
Yes, I saw Mr. Maxwell Anderson.
And he does what?
He walks into the establishment from the west.
And he's alone?
Correct.
All right. Next clip, the end of it is titled Arrival Inside Bar. It's 2 minutes long. And as it plays, this is picking up at around the same time, 5:09 p.m.
Correct.
Okay. I'm going to fast forward briefly. All right, the clip ended. Essentially, he comes in, he sits down next to who?
A bartender named Brian Culvert.
I'm going to show you 241. Just a screenshot of that first camera we watched.
Correct.
Okay, move 241 in, ask to publish.
No objection.
Received.
So here you can see. All right. That's Mr. Anderson.
That is Mr. Anderson. That is correct.
And what were you able to observe that he's wearing?
Mr. Anderson's wearing a black and color Carhartt t-shirt, appears to be wearing a red and color flannel over that t-shirt, and blue jeans. And his hairstyle is in a bun fashion.
I'm going to go back to Exhibit 235 here. And if you're looking at my screen now, there's basically, it's just a bunch of clips, ring clips that you were able to recover, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. We're not going to watch all of them, but why don't we pick up? This clip picks up at what time, Detective?
1719 hours, which again is 5:19 p.m.
Okay, so this is about 9 to 10 minutes after he arrived.
That's correct, yes.
He's seated alone at the bar, and that employee is now moved behind the bar, correct?
Correct.
Okay, playing that clip. And fast forward. And what is Mr. Anderson, what has he ordered that you can see?
It appears that he just ordered a beer.
The next clip on that you were able to recover picks up at what time?
That is 1721 hours on the footage, so 5:21 p.m.
And at this time, someone is seated next to Mr. Anderson now, correct?
That's correct, yes.
I'm going to go back out, playing the video. It ends in arriving Twisted Fisherman. Play that from the beginning. Pause that clip at 16 seconds. What did we just observe?
We observed Sade Robinson walking into the Twisted Fisherman from the east.
And that was at about 5:20?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. So by 5:21, they're seated together at the bar.
Correct.
All right, that last clip for the record picks up at 17:21:40 is the timestamp on it. That's how I'm going to keep the record of the clips we're watching. And they're just sitting there next to each other. It's not even talking at that point, right?
That is correct, yes.
Eventually, did they get food,
Yes.
drinks?
Correct, yes.
I'm going to pull up a clip. What time does this clip start, Detective?
1742 hours, which again, 5:42 p.m.
And by this time, by 5:42, they're eating food, right?
Correct.
Okay. What was happening in that clip?
It appears that they're just having a casual conversation with the bartender, and the bartender later pours out a shot.
The next clip picks up at what time?
1744 hours, 5:44 p.m.
And 20 seconds?
Correct.
Playing this clip. All right, and in that clip, did all three of them do the shot together?
That's correct. I believe I heard the bartender say cheers, which then proceeded them to all do the shot together, yes.
And Sade has what appears to be in front of her some kind of food, and then there looks like there's a cocktail and perhaps a water?
That's fair, yes.
Okay. The next clip I'm playing picks up at 5:48:26, and again, that shot that they did was at 5:44?
Correct.
In that clip, what happens?
It appears that Mr. Anderson briefly steps away to possibly use the restroom. And then in the meantime, Miss Robinson is just having casual conversation with the bartender.
Next clip I have up starts at what time?
17:58 hours, which is 5:58 p.m.
That clip shows us the bartender clearing their plates, right?
Correct, yes.
So that's around 6 p.m.
Correct.
Done eating, both of their plates getting cleared.
That is correct, yes.
Next clip picks up. That's what's the time that this picks up to the second detective?
1800 hours, 47 seconds, which 6 p.m.
But my friends that are not in the industry don't understand that.
Paused that clip at 15 seconds. Bartender gives another beer to Mr. Anderson.
That is correct, yes.
I think it's what it is. I have so I think what I do is when I go with socks, I pass it wrap on my hand and I put socks on. But when I do work, maybe I'm going, and I'm like, I still don't walk up.
All right, that clip ended. I was trying to stop it right at the end here, but somewhere just prior to 6:03 p.m., correct?
Correct.
And so Mr. Anderson got another beer, and then it looks like the bartender does what?
He goes and obtains their check.
So to this point, and I know we didn't watch all of the clips, but you've watched all of them, right?
That's correct, yes.
How he's had 2 beers and a shot. Is that fair?
That's fair, yes.
And Ms. Robinson, 1 drink and a shot.
That's fair to say, yes.
Were there more drinks ordered? Do you recall?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. Next clip picks up at what time?
That's 18:02 hours with 50 seconds, which is 6:02 p.m.
It's right where the last one left off.
That is correct.
Paused at 22 seconds in this first part of the clip. It looks like Mr. Calvert and Mr. Anderson do like a fist bump, right?
Correct, yes.
And then it seems he's offering up another shot, correct?
Correct.
How does Sade respond to that?
Believe
That we just saw.
I believe she declines it.
Okay, I'll play it again. I'm going back to 9 seconds. Pause at 32 seconds. Were you able to tell there?
Yeah, so it appears that the bartender puts down 2 shot glasses. And when he puts down the shot glass in front of Miss Robinson, she kind of makes like a right hand motion indicating that she's declining it.
And what does the bartender do with the shot glass?
I believe, I'm not exactly sure what he did with hers.
Okay, I'll back it up here. Playing from 12 seconds. Did you see it there?
I did, yes. He physically picks up the shot glass and puts it in front of Mr. Anderson.
Playing at 26.
Yeah, actually, I can make you all. Go on. Okay.
I know this must be extremely hard for that mother sitting in the back to watch this. Oh wow. This man is pure evil. Resume.
All right, I paused it just before the end of the clip. The timestamp is what?
18:04 hours and 52 seconds.
Okay, sorry, I pulled it away before you could read it. The next clip picks up at what time?
18:04 hours and 54 seconds.
Cheers. Sorry, nice to meet you. Maxwell, pleasure to see you. Like I said, talk to you about it. What else do you know? Yeah. Young ladies,
All right, and in that clip that just ended, that was about a 2-minute clip, give or take. What did we observe?
Observed the bartender make some type of alcoholic beverage. And then the three of them, he pours the beverage into 3 shot glasses, and the three of them do the shot together.
Okay, so he gives that shot to both Sade and Mr. Anderson.
That's correct, yes.
I'm gonna advance a little bit here. Next clip picks up at, what time do we got?
18:21 hours and 16 seconds.
All right, so just a few minutes after they just did the other shot.
Correct.
Okay.
Good. That's one of our surgeons today, so. We also. Yeah, it's a really, draft sales. Yeah, I'm not disappointed. So, all right, not walking. Sure. Okay, excellent. So, good to see you. So.
All right, that clip looks like they're getting up to leave.
That's correct, yes.
I'm gonna go to the next clip. Does this one pick up right where the other one just left off, or at least appear to?
That's correct, yes, at 18:23 hours and 21 seconds.
So many. Hey, we'll talk now, but go.
Pause this clip at 1 minute and 3 seconds in. The timestamp is 18:24:25. They've just headed for the exit, right?
That's correct. They say bye to the bartender, and they both exit the establishment together.
Okay. This video's titled Leaving Twisted Fisherman. What camera are we looking at here?
We're looking at the exit/entrance camera to the east, which shows out towards the parking lot.
And the timestamp, April 1st, 2024, what time?
18:24 hours and 20 seconds.
In that clip, they leave, they're exiting to the east, and then they turn the corner of the building, correct?
That is correct, yes.
So in some, Detective Mr. Anderson arrives at about 5:09 p.m.
Correct.
Miss Robinson at roughly 5:20.
Correct, yes.
They sit there next to each other at the bar.
Correct.
They eat.
Correct.
They have drinks
Correct.
and 2 shots total.
Correct, yes.
Okay. And at 6:24, they get up and leave together.
That is correct, yes.
Did you have another detective check and see if there was other video of them leaving near the We Energies facilities near that location?
That is correct. That was Detective Joe Blanchard.
Okay. And then I have exhibit 240, which has already been entered into evidence. This is a screenshot from that same camera. What is Sade wearing?
Sade is wearing a black puffer jacket. Underneath appears to be a white knitted sweatshirt, blue/white wash jeans with cuts towards the knees and the thigh of her body, and then white, I would say, tennis shoes. She's also appears to be carrying a black bag in her left hand.
Okay, and when she's inside, she has her jacket off. You can see that she's wearing the long sleeve sweater,
That is correct, yes.
and it kind of goes midway down her torso.
That is correct, yes.
I have no other questions.
Cross.
So just to recap, the two of them basically just hung out at Twisted Fisherman.
I would classify that as yes. They just had casual conversation from what it appeared.
And the guy you mentioned before is named Brian Culvert, right? That's somebody you talked about
That's correct, yes.
because you questioned him,
I interviewed him.
and he's the guy that was working behind the bar.
Correct, yes.
You've watched all these tapes before court here today, obviously, on other occasions.
That's correct, yes.
And Mr. Culvert appears friendly with Max Anderson, doesn't he?
That is correct, yes.
Calls him an incredible guy.
I don't recall hearing that.
Well, at the end, he says, Max, so good to see you, as he's shaking his hand and leaning across the bar. You saw that?
I saw that. I didn't hear that.
Oh, you didn't hear either of those things?
I heard the name Max. I didn't
Oh.
hear the incredible guy portion.
Okay. Who carded Sade?
I don't believe she was carded.
Did they ever ask her age or anything?
Objection relevance.
Well, they just spent all this time talking about shots.
It's fine.
I'll withdraw the objection.
I'll allow him to answer.
Could you just ask me your question one more time?
Was she carded
I don't believe so.
or asked to provide any identification at all from what you saw?
From what I saw, I don't believe so.
And it looks to me like Brian Culvert is just on his own pouring shots for people.
I'm going to object to this line of questioning at this point. If we're getting into him serving her underage, it's not relevant to this trial
It
at
isn't
all.
relevant. I mean, you got in the part relative to the alcohol.
Well, you've testified on direct about shots being poured, right?
That is correct.
Okay. And my question about the shots, not about the underage aspect, my question about the shots is, did Max order those shots?
I don't know who ordered what shots.
Right. You don't hear anybody order those shots.
I don't believe so.
From what it appears, from what you watched, is that the bartender is just pouring them on his own volition, right?
That's correct. But again, I can hear some of the audio in the video. I can't hear all the audio in the video.
Right. Okay. And they eat a meal, right?
Correct, yes.
Each of them, from what you can tell?
From what I can tell, yes.
And it's clear to you, isn't it, that Max is known at this Twisted Fisherman place, right?
Yeah, it appears that him and the bartender know each other, yes.
Very friendly with each other.
I would say so, yes.
That's all.
State anything?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
State your next witness.
I'm going to recall Detective Blanchard.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You can please be seated, restate, and respell your name for the record, please.
Joseph Blanchard, Joseph, Blanchard, Blanchar.
Detective Blanchard, you assisted in this investigation also by trying to get video from We Energies down in the valley, correct?
That is correct.
And if you look to your right on the screen, were you aware that there was video recovered from Twisted Fisherman depicting Sade and Maxwell Anderson being at that establishment?
Yes.
Did you subsequently obtain video footage from We Energies showing the approximate arrivals and departures of those people?
I did, yes.
I'm going to pull up, this is exhibit 236. There were multiple camera angles from We Energies that you found, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Exhibit 236, the first clip I have up is titled uberdrop.mov. What are we looking at here?
It is a western view of the camera on, I believe, St. Paul. I'm not sure what 100 block that would be, exactly where the camera is, but it's right from the Twisted Fisherman, which the structure is right on our right. It's like a beige structure.
Okay, so where I'm circling here, that would be Twisted Fisherman.
Yes, that's correct.
We got Potawatomi over here on the left that I'm circling now.
Yes.
Okay, and this video clip is going to show what in sum?
A vehicle arriving and pulling just into the front of the driveway of Twisted Fisherman, which is that first access point, stops there and then slowly rolls forward straight to the west entrance. That's the area of the west entrance of Twisted Fisherman.
Do you recall what time this clip is from?
Yes, it's from the 1st of April, 5:09 hours, and I believe there is a timestamp embedded in the video if you need help finding.
Okay, and that vehicle that we just watched pull in, that's the Uber you're talking about,
Yes, looks like a SUV of some sort.
right here that I'm circling?
Correct.
And I would move the entirety of 236 into evidence.
Any objection?
No.
It's received.
I played that clip to 19 seconds. I'm going to go to the next clip. What are we looking at here?
This is a different angle. Right on top of the screen is the east side exit and entrance area of Twisted Fisherman with a parking lot that is adjacent to it.
This clip is from what time on April 1st?
Around 5:09 on the other side, I think, I believe it's 6:24.
Okay.
I believe when this is the exit.
You were aware of what time they were on video coming and going, right?
Yes.
Okay. So where do we want to be looking? Right where I'm circling here?
Yes, at the top of the screen, right in the center. Behind that vehicle is a chain link fence.
The video kind of skips, but we can see what?
2 individuals exiting the east side of the Twisted Fisherman.
And then they go around the front of the building?
They do.
Are you aware from the Twisted Fisherman who those individuals are?
I am, yes.
Who are they?
Sade Robinson and Maxwell Anderson.
Back to this other clip. This is them walking outside the restaurant together.
Yep, now along the west, walking westward direction in front of the building.
And they appear to be walking together, leaving the restaurant together.
Yes.
Where are they walking to?
The west side parking lot where Sade's vehicle was parked.
Okay. And last clip, I'm sorry, I didn't announce the time that I stopped that one. All right, I'm stopping it at 44 seconds. So right here where I'm circling, there's some trees and whatnot. Do you know from other angles if that's where her car is parked?
From looking at this video and seeing some small movement behind the trees, the vehicle was parked there.
Okay, and then let's go to the final clip. Different angle, but in this one you can actually see where her car is parked, correct?
Correct.
I'm gonna zoom in. I'm circling right here, 2 people, that'd be Sade and Mr. Anderson.
Correct. Leaving the restaurant, excuse me.
All right, playing from 0 minutes, 0 seconds. It kind of skips, correct?
It does.
But you can see them walking together.
Yes.
All right, and right here where I'm circling, what's that?
That is
It's amazing how these cameras is everywhere, how they can pinpoint every location. You're done, sir. About another few more minutes, I'm going to end. I just want to see the end of this one. Wrap it up.
her vehicle parked facing the direction of the camera.
Do they appear to both get in the vehicle?
They do.
And what time was that at?
About 6:24 or 5 at that time.
So the Uber drop-off was at 5:09. They were in the restaurant. They left at 6:24, both going towards Sade Robinson's car.
That is correct.
Nothing else.
Defense?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
State your next witness.
State calls Russell Davis.
And it's camera, and then it says camera dash 02. All right, we're looking at what now?
Now you are looking at a camera on Water and Juno. The camera view is facing southwest.
And Dukes is on this upper corner here in the right.
That is correct.
Playing this clip, it's 56 seconds. What are we seeing?
The same individuals that got into the Honda Civic exited Duke at approximately 9:03 p.m. and are now walking southbound on Water Street.
And he puts his arm around her there, correct?
That is correct.
And they continue walking?
Yes.
She's not stumbling or anything, is she?
No, she is not.
Didn't it look like she stumbled a little bit? I just thought that it looked like, you reckon she was All right, resume. It's just a few more minutes, so we'll be done.
And then the last clip, similar angle or similar view, correct?
Similar view, but this view is now facing southbound on Water Street from Juneau and Water.
All right. So Miss Robinson's car is going to be up here on the upper left,
Correct.
and we're going to see them walking on the right side here, correct?
Correct.
At this point, they're on the west sidewalk,
Yes, they are.
up where my mouse is.
Yes.
Okay. Now they're crossing the street.
Yes, they're crossing the street going eastbound.
And paused at 135. I'm going to back it up from there. Did you see the two blinks again?
I did.
Okay, I'm going to play it again from 125. She gets in what seat?
She gets in the driver's seat.
All right. Fast forward the video slightly. All right, and then she pulls off northbound on Water Street.
Correct.
And that last one was Water and Juneau, camera 05. I'm going to switch gears, detective, bringing up exhibit 238, which is on a flash drive. I'm going to start with channel 1 here. I've got this, the video is queued up to April 1, 2024, 6:36:08 p.m. is the clip I'm on right now. What are we looking at, detective? Where's this video from?
This video is from Dukes on Water.
I'd move exhibit 238 in.
Any objection?
No.
It's received.
Is the date and time stamp on the Dukes on Water video accurate or off?
I believe it is accurate.
Okay, so I'm going to play this clip from 6:36:08 p.m. And for the record, when I'm pulling up the clips, I'm going to go by the timestamp on the video screen. And the reason I'm doing that, detective, when you went through these, as I'm showing you on my screen, there's hundreds of video clips, correct?
Correct.
Some of them, and this is just channel 1, but some of them are only merely seconds long, fair?
Yes.
And some are hours long?
Yes.
Okay. And I think this for camera 1 down in the corner, there's 214 clips, right?
Correct.
All right. You watched these clips. Were you able to determine some of the cameras just had absolutely no relevance, like they showed the basement or something like that?
Yes, the basement and storage.
Okay. All right. I have camera 1 up. This is 6:36:08 p.m. It's a 1-minute clip. What are we seeing?
You are seeing the two individuals that got out of the Honda Civic walking up to Dukes and going inside Dukes.
At 6:36 p.m.?
That is correct.
That would be consistent with them walking from their car where they parked around 6:33?
Absolutely, yes.
Pause that clip at 23 seconds. I'm going to go back to channel 1. The clip picking up at 8:30 and 10 seconds p.m. And for the record, detective, some of these clips were renamed for purposes of courtroom presentation. Is that right?
That is correct.
All right. What's happening at 8:30 and 10 seconds?
The subject who got out of the car with Sade Robinson is now outside smoking a cigarette.
You see that subject in court?
I do.
Can you identify him? I'll stipulate.
The record will so reflect.
Is that the defendant?
Yes.
Thank you. I'll speed this up slightly. right, stopping it at 2:18. Last clip from camera 1, picking up at 9:03 and 24 seconds. What do we see?
Now you see Mr. Robinson and Mr. Anderson leaving the bar on Duke's.
So they got there at 6:36.
They got inside Duke's at 6:36 and they left at 9:03.
Okay. I'm gonna go to channel 9. This is just a different camera of that same door, correct?
Correct.
And he's outside smoking at 8:30?
Yes.
Okay. And then if I go, this is at 8:31 and 7 seconds.
He looks like he don't bathe. He look like he doesn't take showers. Okay, resume. Almost done.
Showing you exhibit. This is going to be 4:56. What are we looking at?
We are looking at 3 different pictures. The first picture is a booking photo of Maxwell Anderson. The second photo is Maxwell Anderson on a bus. And then the third photo is Maxwell Anderson, who is smoking a cigarette outside of Duke's on Water, which is the clip that we just watched.
Okay. And the bus photo is the one that's on screen mark 204 here, correct?
Correct.
All right. I'm going to move 456 in next publish.
Any objection?
No.
456 is admitted and you may.
And it's just a side by side of those 3 images, correct?
That is correct.
Booking photo on the left, bus video photo in the middle, and smoking a cigarette at Duke's on Water on the right, correct?
Correct.
Back to the video here. Going to go to camera number 4. All right, this clip picks up at 6:36. Very hard to see, but I think it says 30 seconds PM. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to play and orient us now. Where's the entry door that they go in?
The entry door is on the left.
Off the screen to the left over here.
Correct.
All right, and where are they going to sit?
They are going to sit on the bar, at the bar, the last 2 chairs in the bar.
These 2?
Yes.
Okay. Playing that clip from 6:36 and 30 seconds. You see the bartender greeting the defendant?
I do.
Okay. Then a bouncer walks over with Sade.
Yes.
And she takes a seat.
Correct.
All right, I'm going to speed it up slightly here. What are they doing?
They are talking to the bartender right now.
The bartender just did what?
Provided a drink to Mr. Anderson,
And now what's she doing?
making a drink for Mr. Robinson.
All right, and Miss Robinson has just gotten up.
Yes,
Where does she go?
to the bathroom.
All right, and she returns to the bathroom at what time?
6:41:08.
I'm sorry, returns from the bathroom. And then they just essentially sit there for a while, correct?
Correct.
All right, I've got that clip paused at 6:42:08 p.m. Going to go to the next clip. This clip picking up at 7:10 p.m. And in the time span between these, are they essentially just sitting there and talking?
Yes,
Okay. Anything notable happen?
they're just talking, drinking.
All right, we're about 7, 10, and 47 seconds. The defendant showing her his phone.
Yes,
7:11 p.m. he removes his jacket.
that's correct.
Okay. Going to advance the video to 1 minute and 50 seconds in. This is 7:12:15 p.m. What's the bartender doing?
She is talking to Mr. Anderson, and it looks like they're playing dice.
I'm going to play this in fast forward. Mr. Anderson is playing a dice game with another patron to his left, not Sade?
That is correct.
All right, and the bartender's there too, correct?
Yes,
And she's doing what?
the bartender was.
Not
with-
the bartender, Sade.
Sade is just sitting there.
All right, and what happened just now?
Maxwell Anderson finished his drink, and the bartender provided him with another drink.
What's the bartender doing now?
She is getting shots.
And the dice game is over?
Correct.
Did she pour one for Sade?
No,
Okay. Just the defendant and then the other person who was playing the dice game?
correct.
And at 7:17 and 42 seconds p.m., the shots are taken?
Correct.
Okay. Going to advance this video to 16 minutes, 43 seconds, picking up at 7:27:07 p.m. What's Sade doing?
Sade takes off her coat.
Now what's happening?
Sade stands up, and two other individuals walked past them by the table, and Sade then goes in the bathroom.
She brings her drink with her.
Yes,
Advancing this clip to 20 minutes, 33 seconds. We're at 7:30 and 59 seconds p.m. They're back at the bar, correct?
correct.
All right. Bartender is doing the dice game again,
Yes,
and Mr. Anderson is playing?
yes,
Sade playing?
no,
So she's not playing the dice games or taking the shots from them?
that's correct.
All right, I'm going to fast forward this. Does Mr. Anderson also have some kind of a vape?
Yes,
Okay. Appears by 7:33:52 the dice game is over?
correct.
Okay, and the dice are kind of just sitting on top of the shake cup right here, right?
Yes,
I'm gonna go to the next clip. Well, the next one is extremely short. Just 3 seconds long. And then the following clip picks up at 7:33:59 PM, correct?
Correct.
All right. I'm going to go to 49 seconds into the clip. What is the bartender doing?
She is pouring another shot.
Looks like it probably is another shot from that second dice game.
Correct.
Okay. And who's doing that shot?
Maxwell and the other individual.
Is Sade taking a shot?
No.
I'm going to advance this video. I paused at 7:39:34 PM. Advancing to 17 minutes, 48 seconds into the clip. Which is 7:51:46 PM. What are we seeing now?
You're seeing two individuals on the right of Sade, and they're going to come over and talk to them.
Do they end up kind of hanging out with these two people for the remainder of the time that they're there?
Yes.
Paused at 7:52:38 PM. I'm going to advance the video to 7:54:17 PM. Mr. Anderson stepped away for a moment, correct?
Correct.
And Sade and the female are doing what?
Sade got up. The female is going to the music box, and Sade eventually goes over by the music box by the other female.
Okay. And you know from reviewing other camera angles that even though it's not on camera here, what is there is what?
A music box.
Okay. At 7:55 PM, Mr. Anderson returns from the bathroom.
Correct.
The bartender just brought over 2 pitchers of what appears to be water, correct?
Yes.
And what else did she bring over?
She brought over cups, plastic cups.
What's going to happen next?
They are going to play beer pong.
On this red table here?
Yes, the red table that says Dukes.
Were you made aware of whether anybody had provided information to the police about Sade playing beer pong at Duke's?
Yes, there was an individual that provided that information.
Going to advance. I paused at 7:57:20 PM. Picking up at 8:02:12 PM. What does it look like Sade is doing right now?
It looks like she is taking a picture because you can see her phone and then you can see the red on the back of her phone.
All right, I'll back it up and zoom just briefly. So if someone had indicated that she had taken a Snapchat playing beer pong at Duke's, would this seem to suggest that that did happen?
Correct.
I'm going to speed the video up here. She's standing there on her phone.
Yes,
Okay. Where's Mr. Anderson?
he is at the bar getting drinks.
Now what's happening?
Mr. Anderson takes the drinks over to Sade.
Okay. He brought 2 drinks over,
He did.
and one of them Sade takes and begins drinking, correct?
Correct.
Paused it at 8:04:04 PM. I'm going to advance it to 8:20 PM. The beer pong game finishes, right?
Correct.
Now what's happening? I have it in fast forward.
Now Sade sits down by the slot machines and Mr. Anderson sits down right next to her and they are talking.
Paused at 8:21:49 PM. Sorry, 8:21:55 PM. Advancing to 8:33 p.m. Where are they?
They are by the bar.
And do we know from the other views, where is Mr. Anderson at this time?
Mr. Anderson is outside smoking a cigarette.
Putting it into fast forward. All right, I have it up to 8:35:42 p.m. Mr. Anderson's returned to that area where they were originally seated.
Correct.
Pause at 8:35:49. Going to advance it. 8:39:11 p.m. What are they doing?
They are now starting beer pong back up.
Playing it in fast forward. Paused at 8:44:18. They're just playing beer pong, right?
Correct.
Fast forwarding to 8:45:24 p.m. Sade and Mr. Anderson are talking near the bathrooms, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then the game resumes, right?
Correct.
Pause at 8:46:01 p.m. Advancing to 8:49:18 p.m. Actually, I should have gone back a little bit. 8:49:11 p.m. What's Sade doing?
Sade then goes to the bathroom.
And she doesn't appear to have a drink anymore, right?
No, she doesn't.
Sade's back by what time?
By 8:51:18.
All right. And for the rest of this clip, do they essentially just continue to play beer pong?
Yes.
8:51:21 p.m. is where I have this timestamp, the last timestamp from this clip. I'm going to go on to the next clip from channel 4, camera 4. This clip picks up at 9:03. I'm going to advance it to 52 seconds, 9:53 on the timestamp. What's happening now?
The game is over or about to be over, and eventually you're going to see them shaking hands. They're eventually going to hug, and Sade and Mr. Anderson are going to leave.
So Sade hugs the young woman she's been talking to.
Correct.
And now what's happening at 9:02:05 p.m.?
They are putting on their coats.
Okay, that's a perfect point to stop then. Okay, so tomorrow morning, we're going to kick back up at 8:45. Feel free to bring coffee, water, or soda.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm finally ending. Thank you for hanging in here with me, but I just want to see the rest of this with the video, so see what happens tomorrow. Beautiful girl. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Nutcase. And I'm starting to notice around the ending of it, looks like you can tell that she wanted to go home or something, or like she was starting to realize this day is not, I don't know. Just stay tuned for some more. And everybody had themselves a good one and a blessed one. Adios.